My girlfriend had sex with her male friends while drunk, one of which was her best friend, who I was told was gay at first but later on bisexual, and now she's begging me not to break up with her. Posted by u/throw broken trust. My girlfriend, we'll call her Katie, 22F, and I, 26M, met in college and have been together for 4 years. I'm the first person she's ever had a relationship with because her parents were strict in high school. Our parents are religious and don't believe in sex before marriage, and while I don't really care, she's very close with her parents, so we've been waiting. Now that she's graduated, I was planning on proposing within the next few months. I had a ring picked out and everything. I was head over heels for this girl. That all changed last night. Or, last weekend, really. Katie has had a male best friend since high school that her parents never liked because he claimed to be gay. Let's call him Liam. She was excited to be going to the same college as him, because it meant they could hang out as much as they wanted. I've never been a big fan of the male best friend thing, but he's gay, so whatever. Except 2 years ago, he came out as bisexual. I never really liked the vibes when he was around her, so I asked Katie to stop hanging out with him alone. She accused me of not being supportive of him and trying to control her, just like her parents. I told her it was her choice if she wanted to keep seeing him alone, but I wouldn't be sticking around for it. It was the biggest problem we'd ever had in our relationship, but we worked through it. The compromise was that Liam and his boyfriend could hang out with me and my girlfriend together, as couples, but never alone. I never wanted to cut her off from her friends. With this stipulation, however, the 4 of us only got together twice before Liam ended up transferring to a different college over the summer. My girlfriend stayed in contact with them over Discord, stayed friends with both of them when they broke up, and formed a gaming server with them and some of their other friends. Most of these friends were men, but she assured me nothing funny was going on. Most of them even had girlfriends, she said. Last weekend was Liam's birthday party, and he invited her. Katie wanted to talk to me about it first, to make sure I was okay with it. She said she wanted to go since she hadn't seen him in 2 years, and it was only a 2-hour drive away. A bunch of her friends from the Discord server that she had never met in person before were going to be there, women included, and Liam's girlfriend would be there too. Since I had a weekend trip planned, leaving Friday, returning Sunday, I unfortunately wouldn't be able to go with her, but I told Katie I trusted her and had no problems with her going to see her friends. The problem started Saturday night. She texted me in the morning when she was leaving for the party, she texted me when she got there, and she texted me a couple times throughout to check in. Katie told me that she had planned on driving back around 9 or 10, but it was around that time that the text messages stopped. I assumed she was just having a good time and didn't want to seem controlling, so I didn't bother her. I did stay up to watch her location and make sure she got home, though, and she did, around 2 a.m. It was unusual, but I trusted her and didn't want to make any assumptions. I would call her in the morning and she would explain that she just got carried away having fun with her friends, I thought. I called her Sunday morning, and she didn't answer. She texted back a few minutes later that she had been sleeping, had a hangover, and wasn't feeling well. That was very strange, because Katie doesn't drink. I told her to drink lots of water and that I hoped she felt better, and got on my flight home. When I arrived at my apartment, I found her curled up in my bed in the dark. She has a key to my apartment, but hardly ever needs it because usually I'm with her to do the unlocking. I asked her why she hadn't stayed at her apartment to rest up, but she didn't say anything. Since then, the entire week, she has been saying she's not feeling well and has not left my room. She's taken off work, and I've been going home on my lunch breaks to make sure she was eating. I was worried about her, but in the back of my mind, I was also suspicious about what had happened at the party over the weekend. Late last night, Katie woke me up from the couch sobbing. It was the first time she had left my room since I'd gotten home, other than to use the bathroom. I consoled her until she had calmed down enough to be coherent, and asked her what was wrong. She told me she had done something horrible. She told me Saturday night, she had somehow gotten really drunk on accident, and Liam offered to drive her home. 3 of her friends from the gaming server on Discord got in a second car to follow them, to take Liam back home after they got to Katie's apartment. They helped her up the stairs and into her apartment. Then, she said, she had sex with them. All of them. All 4 men. Katie said she doesn't remember most of it, that she was really out of it. She said she's been sick ever since, trying to figure out how to tell me, because she loves me so much and didn't want to hurt me. Didn't want to hurt me, but gave away her virginity, that she was supposedly saving for marriage, to 4 other men, instead of the man who spent the past 4 years caring for her. She said she wanted to tell me right when I got back, which is why I found her in my apartment, but she couldn't bring herself to because she didn't want to lose me. She begged me not to break up with her. I told her I needed some time to myself to think. She then begged me not to make her go back to her apartment. I didn't feel like fighting, so I just told her she could go back into my room. I could hear her crying intermittently all night. I have to admit I was brought to tears myself. I can't believe how she would throw away our whole relationship, the 4 years we've built together, over one party. I was going to propose soon. I trusted her, and now it's broken. I'm at work, and I haven't been able to focus all day. Part of me wants to tell her to get out the second I get home, if she's still there, and that I never want to see her again. Part of me wants to talk to her more and see if there's anything left to salvage. I can't tell which side is more unreasonable. How do I navigate this? Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Then, she said, she had sex with them. All of them. All 4 men. Is that what happened? Or did they have sex with her, against her will? If her claims of needing help up the stairs, not remembering most of it, are true, they took advantage of her. It's hard to know what the truth is. Is the way you framed it true? Is the way I framed it true? Is it somewhere in between? Honestly, I lean more toward her having been SA'd, and potentially drugged. Not many people go from not drinking and remaining a virgin till marriage to agreeing to get drunk and have sex with 4 guys. Op's response. The way I framed it is the way she framed it. I tried to keep this post focused on facts, to garner unbiased responses. The words used to describe what happened are all hers. I don't think she lied to me at all. She's always been very honest, and has very clearly been torn up about this ever since it happened. I've seen a lot of comments starting to come in suggesting that she was SA'd. That's not what she said happened, but everyone is making some pretty good points that I hadn't considered, hadn't thought of because of how emotional I've been. I think it's possible that she could be in denial, though I'm not entirely convinced that's what happened without talking to her. I'll try to gently ask her about that when I get home. I genuinely hope it's not the case. As upset as I've been at her cheating on me, I'd rather it all have been consensual than not. I would never wish anything like that on her. Commenter 2. Honestly, SA victims are often in denial, especially in the beginning. Being in denial usually means that the victim had some sort of control, and therefore blames themselves, and admitting to yourself that you had no control of the situation and that you were SA'd is pretty scary. How do I know? I'm a SA victim myself. Op to another commenter. God, you're right. I can't believe I didn't see this. Reading all of these comments, though. God, everyone is right. Update 2 days later. Trigger warnings all over this. Sorry for everyone who didn't get that on my last post. My girlfriend has gone to bed early, and I have nothing better to do, so I'm finally getting a chance to write this. First, something you can skip through to the actual update if you don't care. I think my other post was taken down for being fake. One of the biggest reasons people seemed to think it was fake was because I wasn't spending time in the comments denying every accusation. I hadn't even opened Reddit since I left work to go check on Katie. It wasn't anywhere near my top priority at the time. For some quick and easy debunking, though, one moment he says he has her location and the next he's surprised she's at his apartment. I checked her location Saturday night solely to make sure she got home okay. After that, I did not check her location, because I am not a stalker who tracks her every move. On iPhone, it shows your location in the text messages with that person, so he either hadn't looked at their texts at all between his flight and getting home, or it's made up. Not everyone has an iPhone like you. I do, but my girlfriend doesn't, so we use an app. And no, I don't get notifications from the app because again, I don't need to be a stalker. The random excessive details. Sorry? Like I mentioned, I had been stewing on everything since she told me what happened that night, and I just wanted to get it all out. These were all the details I'd had floating around in my head surrounding the situation. The update is full of typos while the main text is immaculate. Op only wrote the update and the TLDR. My apologies for being a bit of a mess and in a rush after realizing my girlfriend might have been SA'd. That's my bad. I've gone back and fixed them, by the way. I had no idea my post would get hundreds of more comments after I closed Reddit that would skeptically analyze everything I wrote to the letter. There's absolutely no concern that she's gotten pregnant? No worries about STIs? Not at the time, no. I didn't even know if I was going to stay with her. Pregnancy and STIs would have been a concern if I did, but at the point of writing, I believed she had cheated on me, and was leaning towards breaking up with her. No worries that she was potentially drugged and SA'd? Again, not at the time of writing. I was still reeling from what she had told me. That she had sex with 4 men. She didn't say anything about getting drugged or being SA'd, which was something I would have assumed she'd have mentioned. That was before I read all the comments that she may be in denial herself, which hadn't even occurred to me. So this religious girl who wanted to wait for marriage suddenly wanted a train run on her? Obviously fake. No, as it turns out, she did not want any part of what happened. For everyone who said someone in my position wouldn't have taken the time to write everything out for a post, well, look at the rest of the subreddit. If people in sticky situations didn't post about them, there wouldn't be any posts on here at all. And to everyone who suggested either it was fake or she must have been a cow for 4 men to carry her up the stairs, you can personally F off. Everything above was a whole load of presumptuous BS. I do wish everything I wrote wasn't true. For the record, I only wrote all that out so people wouldn't harass me on this post, too. Here's where you can skip to if none of that pertains to you. After reading all the comments that opened my eyes to what really happened, thank you so much to everyone who helped with this, especially you/MissBean163 and you/Vozlastisha. I left work a little before lunch and immediately went home to check on my girlfriend. She was as I had left her, curled up in bed and crying. The first thing I did was just go hold her, after asking for consent. I cried with her. After a while, I gently brought up what happened that night. Did she actually want any of that to happen? A lot was said, but long story short, as many of you suggested, she did not. To clear some things up, these friends that she was with at the party were not just random people she met online. They were personal friends of Liam, who she had been best friends with for 8 years. These friends, while she herself never met them in person, were people she had talked to and gamed with over the past year or so. I would hear her talking with them over the headset, and I never noticed anything strange. She's pretty shy and introverted, so I was happy for her to have friends to play with while she gamed. They weren't all men, either. From what she said, there were 4 or 5 women in the server as well. Of the people at the party, 3 of the men and 2 of the women attended. Also, there were Liam's girlfriend, a couple of other friends, and a few of their partners. All in all, there were only around 15 guests, and everyone knew each other for the most part. It was never meant to be a huge thing, just a get-together of Liam's closest friends at his house. Alcohol wasn't even supposed to be a big part of it. At the beginning of the party, a lot of them just gamed together, since they hadn't been able to in person for a while. There was no big girl/guy separation, as a lot of people at the party were LGBT+. Some people got in little groups to chat together, just general mingling, etc. About midway through the party, one of the guests poured everyone some mystery shots. Katie rejected it at first. Liam, however, urged her to, for his birthday. When everyone else heard she'd never taken a shot before, they all egged her on, too. It was just one shot. Liam insisted it would wear off well before time for her to head home. If not, she could just wait however much longer until she felt comfortable driving. She felt like she had to. From that point, things got a little less clear. There was more hanging out. There was more alcohol. People, she wasn't sure which ones, kept handing her drinks and insisting. She didn't want to ruin Liam's party, and she knew if nothing else, he would look out for her. She didn't feel right, but Katie said she thought he would have told her if something was wrong, and he kept telling her everything was okay. She remembers feeling really sick. She remembers seeing others passed out on the couch. She remembers Liam saying he wanted to personally take her home, driving her car, to make sure she was okay. He felt bad he had let her get so effed up, he said. She remembers one of her friends from Discord telling Liam he would follow them in his car to take Liam back after. She remembers 2 more guys from the Discord getting in his car. She remembers Liam giving her a bottle of water in the car to help her sober up. She remembers them carrying her up the stairs to her apartment and laughing. Being brought inside her apartment. I'm not going to describe any further than that. She didn't want any of what happened. Was she naive? Maybe. Did she probably miss some red flags, make some choices she shouldn't have? Sure. Katie did not deserve that. The fault belongs with the men who did it. She didn't want to file a police report, and I'm not giving her an ultimatum, thanks to advice from you/needleworker-il2167 and you/lilac_homestead, as well as what should be common empathy. I've read up a lot on how horrific that can be, and I'm in full support of her decision. Of course, if she ever changes her mind and decides she does want to file a report, I'll be there for her through that, too. What we are going to do is see a doctor. Part of the reason Katie says she spent most of this time curled up in bed is that she has been in a lot of pain. She really doesn't want to be poked and prodded it down there, but after some convincing and assurance, she agreed. She's going to be seen on Monday, and also going to get pregnancy and STI testing, which we're equally worried about, done while we're there. Over the weekend, we've talked a lot. We've both cried a lot. There's been lots of hugs, and giving space when needed. I have opened up the curtains in the bedroom so she gets sunlight in there, at least. For anyone who is concerned, no, I'm not making her go back to her apartment. For the jerks who suggested it, no, I'm not leaving her, before or after her healing, to find someone who isn't damaged, and no, I will not be ratting her out to her parents. I'm taking the entirety of next week off to stay home and take care of her, go to as many doctor's appointments as needed, set up therapy, etc. I don't think I can ever make up for leaving her alone the way I did this past week. But I will be there for her through anything and everything that comes next, whatever that may mean. Again, thank you to everyone from my first post who helped me realize what an egocentric dumbass I was being. I hope this update helps everyone who is concerned. Katie isn't okay right now, but hopefully we can get there. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. I will say this before the comments get out of hand. You are one stand-up guy. As a male SA victim, thank you for taking care of her and not giving her ultimatums. Just try to be her shoulder and her protection. Also, speak to a therapist. You will need help in this as well. If you need someone to talk to, feel free to DM me. We have your back, Man. Ops response. Thank you, it means a lot. Looking back at my original post now, and even just having to type in that title again for the update, I can't believe how ignorant I was. I don't think I'll ever stop feeling guilty, but I don't think I really should. I can only do my best to imagine how she's been feeling through all of this. Therapy for myself, I hadn't considered, but I'll look into it after things settle down with my girlfriend. And thanks for the offer to DM, I might have to take you up on that at some point. Commenter 2. I'm sorry people are idiots, and I'm sorry your girlfriend went through something so horrific. Please make sure she gets to talk to a therapist or some kind of survivors group. It's going to take her a long time to process this, and it is going to be painful. She absolutely needs to know she isn't alone in this. Ops response. Don't worry, I'm already looking into that sort of stuff for her, and I've let her know that I'm not going anywhere either. The hardest thing might be leaving my apartment, but we'll tackle that tomorrow. Thank you for your support. Downvoted commenter 3. She doesn't want to file a police report. So the jerks can go and do it to someone else, I guess. Didn't even want to go to the doctor, even though there is risk of STDs and pregnancy, had to be convinced to do it. If she's as religious as you say and she's pregnant, she might keep the baby. Are you prepared for that possibility? Seems like your girlfriend is making a bunch of questionable choices, and you're just being the spectator. She absolutely needs to file a report. Ops response. Of course she doesn't want to go to the doctor, she barely wants to live, much less go through invasive examinations. No, she's not being very reasonable, she's traumatized and understandably so. I am not being a spectator, I am guiding her towards making essential choices, such as being seen by a doctor, and supporting her in any other decision she makes. She needs all the agency she can get, after having it ripped away from her like that. Unfortunately, it is not as simple as just file a police report. Police, as I've recently learned, are, in the majority of cases, completely terrible to SA victims. I am not going to push her into re-traumatizing herself through interrogation after interrogation, and victim blaming. Opt to a deleted commenter. Of course she's cutting ties with them. She never wants to even have to think about any of them ever again. She's been too scared to even leave my apartment. It's not like she's going to hop on Call of Duty and invite them to her game. Context clues, for F's sake. Commenter 4. There was a mention of a few other women in this Discord, and although the burden doesn't lie upon your girlfriend, I'm really worried, as somehow all these other women must be made aware of the sexual predators amongst them for their safety. But I can't come up with a way of informing them without disclosing the crime committed against your girlfriend. Ops response. I was so busy worrying about my girlfriend, I hadn't thought about them. I don't think Katie has even been on her phone at all since she got to my apartment, so I don't know if anything has been mentioned or said, by Liam or any of the others. I'll try to gently bring it up in the morning. Those women are her friends, too, and I'm sure the last thing she would want would be for the same thing to happen to them. I don't know. I'll try to help her figure something out. Second update 6 days later. Today is the first day I've gone to work since I made my first post. This is what's happened since my last update. Sorry if this is hard to read, I haven't been doing well myself. As with my last update, please be aware that I'm writing about very sensitive topics here. Trigger warning for this entire post. After talking to her and bringing up some of the points made by commenters in my last update, Katie decided she did want to get a SA kit done, just in case she ever wanted to make a report in the future. As such, I went by her apartment solo before our hospital trip to grab her clothes from that night, as many suggested on my last post. The place was a mess. One of her tables was broken. There was blood on the bed. Her clothes were torn and scattered about. It was no wonder she hadn't wanted to go back. I took pictures of everything, just in case. We got to the first hospital early in the morning, hoping we wouldn't have to wait super long. We ended up only having to wait around 2 hours, which wasn't terrible. I brought my Switch for Katie to play Tetris on in the meantime, thanks you /Spoink74. It seemed to help take her mind off things, at least. From there, though, it was all downhill. After we were moved to an exam room, the nurse asked the usual intake questions, and then made Katie recount every detail of what had happened, to the best of her recollection, while she just sat there and looked bored. Occasionally, Katie would choke up, and the nurse would tell her to go on in an annoyed tone. The nurse left, we waited for around an hour, and then the doctor came in and did the same thing. Half an hour later, the doctor returned to tell us that they didn't have any SA kits at that hospital. We would need to go to a different one, over an hour away. So obviously, after that, Katie was pretty distraught. We had to wait another half hour to receive her discharge papers and be able to leave, and by that point she was ready to just go straight home. We did go to the second hospital, though. By the time we got there, it was the afternoon, we stopped for lunch on the way, and things were looking pretty packed. We had to wait over 5 hours to be put in an exam room, and another hour to be seen by the nurse. This nurse, again, had Katie recount the incident in excruciating detail. He would ask questions for clarification, and become irritated if she couldn't answer. Someone else came in half an hour or so later to tell us that they couldn't perform a SA exam because too much time had passed. She could go to a police station to make a report herself if she felt inclined to. They could still check her for injuries and test her for STI/pregnancy if she wanted. I'm not going to go into detail here, but they found some pretty severe bruising, abrasions, and fissures that definitely explained her pain. That exam in and of itself was traumatic all over again, really. The doctor was very insensitive, didn't seem to understand the gravity of the situation, and kept making jokes throughout. Ouch, that must have hurt. Unfortunately, all they could do for that was give her some topical pain relief, though she may have to get surgery if it doesn't heal on its own. They also think she has adductor tendinopathy, which is like a thigh muscle strain, so she's not supposed to be up and about a lot. She tested negative for STIs, but we were told they might not show up for quite some time, so we chose to get her on preventatives. Pregnancy test was also negative, thankfully, but they also said that it's unlikely the hormone levels would be detectable at this point even if she were pregnant. We were told to make appointments with her primary for the next few months to get retested. Then we waited another hour for discharge papers. Between both hospital visits, Katie was charged over $5,000. Insurance doesn't want to pay because they say it was elective. Obviously we're going to fight it, but it's just one more thing on top of the pile. I still have the pictures of her apartment, along with her clothes from that night in a sealed bag that the hospital didn't want, in case she ever decides she wants to report, but things aren't looking good. Her pregnancy tests have still been turning out negative, at least. Since then, Katie has not been doing well, to say the least. For the whole first day after, I don't think she even spoke at all. She had her first therapy appointment with a specialist last Wednesday, but she hasn't talked about it much, so I'm not sure how it went. The doctors wrote her out of work until this Wednesday due to the extent of her injuries. Her next therapy appointment will be right after her first day back. Hopefully that helps with the transition. I've looked into therapy for myself, as suggested, but that's on the back burner for now. What was a priority, as some of you/trespassers will, what am I thinking, you/coffeetoffee0, pointed out, was warning the other women/people in the Discord server about the 4 men that assaulted Katie. It didn't go quite as hoped. To be honest, I'm not sure what I was even really expecting in the first place. With her permission, I logged into her Discord account, only to find that she had been banned from the server and unfriended by almost everyone. There were a couple people that had messaged Katie to ask her what happened. Through them, I was able to find out the version of the events that Katie's assaulters had been telling everyone. Very long story, which I can expand upon later if asked, but after typing everything above I'm pretty spent for now. Short, according to them, Katie came on to Liam and tried to assault him, in front of the 3 others, after they had graciously driven her 2 hours home. I tried to tell those I was able to what really happened, but I'm not sure how many of them believe me. I haven't told Katie yet. I don't think it's something she needs to worry about right now. She already has enough on her plate. Anyway, that's how things are right now. Again, sorry if this isn't written very well. I started writing this post when I first got into work, and now I'm about to leave. It's been very hard to get it all out, but I know people are concerned, and it's better than keeping it all bottled up, I think. Don't know how long it will be until the next update. Sorry if I'm not in the comments much on this one, as I'm about to be driving home, and then I'll be with Katie. Thank you everyone for your help. Top/relevant comments. Commenter. Thank you for the update. I've been thinking about Katie all week. Please let her know if when she's ready, there are spaces for her. I'm a part of a lot of great CPTSD groups where people understand trauma and how it changes your entire life. It's very sad, but not surprising, that the sexual predators are sticking together to cover themselves. I hope at least one of those people listened to you. You tried to tell them, and that's all you could do. Another option is, if Katie likes animals, it may make sense as a possibility down the line to have a service dog. I know I only trusted being around my dogs when people didn't feel safe. They heal you in a way humans can't a lot of the time. That might also be something that makes her feel protected too. I'm so sorry she's going through this, and you too. I don't know if it would be worth it to share those pictures with some of the women that did message her or the hospital report. Maybe legally that's unwise. I just hate that the jerks got to lie about that. This Wednesday sounds way too soon for her to go back to work, unless that's something she wants to keep her mind occupied? But an extended medical leave seems like a reasonable request if she wants that. Ops response. I know, Wednesday feels way too soon for me, too. But by this point, she's already missed over 2 weeks of work, and since she's only been with the company for a few months, it's more likely they'd fire her than grant her leave. They're already upset about her being gone as long as she has been. We talked about her just quitting her job for however long she needs to recover, as I do make quite a bit of money at my job. It'd be really tight, though, since I'd be A, covering her rent until her lease ends in the next couple of months here, or B, paying 3 months up front to end the lease early. We wouldn't have money for therapy, which she desperately needs, not to mention any necessary treatments that may come up. Additional info from OP. I have. A few people messaged me about it as well. Thank you for letting me know. I tried responding directly to their comment, but I don't think my comment is showing up. Not sure why. Maybe I'm shadow banned as the op or something over there. I hope you/D38 sees my comment over here, because this is intended as a direct response. Would them being the ones to accuse her first not hurt her case? Yes, they lied about the assault, but who in this world is going to believe Katie over 4 men? And I've heard first times hurt, anyway, so why would her injuries, not just vaginal injuries, not be consensual? Obviously I know, but what's to prove it to other jerks? I'll give their full story here for context. Please let me know if you see any way I can spin this in Katie's favor. Trigger warnings for this. I'm going to be using fake names, again. According to them, Katie came on to Liam at the party. He turned her down because he had a girlfriend, and she was too drunk. When she kept begging him to sleep with her, he politely asked her to leave. That was when one of Liam's friends, and one of Katie's attackers, Marcus, brought up that she was way too drunk to get herself back home, and they should take the high road and escort her. Marcus and Liam were the only sober ones, so they decided Liam would drive Katie's car, and Marcus would drive his own car to bring them back. Allegedly, another friend volunteered to go in the car with Liam and Katie so they wouldn't be alone together, and then another one said he would go with Marcus to keep him from falling asleep on the long drive. By the time they all got to Katie's place, and because of the water they kept giving her to drink, Katie had sobered up quite a bit. Liam, thinking it would be fine since she wasn't drunk anymore, told his friend who had been in the car with them that he was okay to take her up alone, because he wanted to end their friendship in private after her behavior. It was there that, now allegedly sober, Katie pressured Liam into getting drunk, with the alcohol she allegedly had waiting in her apartment. The other friends, who had been hanging out in Marcus's car, thought he was taking too long to get back, and went up to check on him. That was where they said they found Liam trying to push Katie off while she was riding him. They pulled Katie off of him, and she yelled at them for being perverts for touching her while she was naked, and began throwing things. They tried to calm her down so they could get Liam and go, but she started saying that if they didn't let her finish what she was doing, she would report all of them to the police, saying they SA'd her. To which they all started pleading, because false SA accusations can ruin a man's life. They knew they couldn't let her SA Liam, though, so one of them, Carter, said that if she left Liam alone, he would do whatever she wanted to her. Katie supposedly accepted this offer, and the others stayed to watch as witnesses, so she wouldn't be able to say anything happened that didn't later. They were all reportedly concerned for Katie, who to their previous knowledge had been a virgin, because she was asking Carter to be very rough with her. She insisted she liked the pain, and kept asking for more and more. Eventually one of the things Katie wanted was too hardcore, and Carter refused to continue. She started yelling at them all again that she would report them for SA, that everyone would believe her over them, but they had had enough and left. Sorry that was so long. I didn't want to leave anything out, in case it was important. There aren't any screenshots of the men involved telling this story, because from what I hear it was in a voice channel, but I do have the chats of people telling me what they said. Everyone seems to be very supportive of them. Former friends have messaged Katie vicious things. If all of them are fully believing this, what's to stop law enforcement from believing the same thing, if Katie were to report? Commenter 2. Hi Op, just checking on you. How is everything going in these last weeks? Any update on the police or the abusers? And how is your girlfriend doing with the new therapist? Op's response. Thank you for checking in. Sorry I haven't updated in so long. I haven't been able to bring myself to, it's not good. The police are crap, the therapists have been utterly unhelpful, Katie's having medical issues and lost her job, and her health insurance with it. She's pregnant. Of course, we only found that out after she lost her job, so we can't try to sue for discrimination or anything, not that either of us have the energy for that. We've both been facing some harassment, on top of everything else. I'll post an actual update when things are looking up, hopefully. I haven't had a second just to catch my breath as of late. Third update 4 months 3 weeks later. Op made a post in r/suicide bereavement that was titled, "This is the 20th day she's been gone. I don't know how to do this. Things were bad. She was in therapy. It was going well, from what she told me. I shouldn't have gone to work. I should have stayed home with her. I didn't think this would happen. There's empty space now where she used to be, and I don't know how to do this anymore. How does anyone do this?" Editor's note. Op's last post was made in March 2025. He has not made any new posts since.